unit. Okay? I'm going to test you payment known and payment not known. I don't really care about anything else. Now, I do want you, there is some questions on the test from the reading. And that's from the last part of 4C, which talks about stocks. So I do want you to read that section about stocks and make sure you know about looking at a stock on the internet, okay? All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is with the payment known. Now, this is payment known. Write that down. Payment known. This is on the sheet, the first one I'm giving you, and I'm going to go ahead and make changes on this. Well, my whiteboard is not coming up. Oh, I know why. Because this is my whiteboard. And I'm going to make it black. Okay, this should work, I hope. But remember, I'm at the Anderson campus, so I don't know if it'll work or not. I want you to take this out. Oh, man, I don't know why I thought this would work. You know what the definition of insanity is?
Doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Expecting a different what? Expecting a different result. I don't know why I keep coming back to the Anderson campus, because every time I come back, it doesn't work. There we go. We're cooking with oil now. All right, I want this R over N, R over N, raised to the NT power. Okay, now remember in Unit 1, or in 4A or B, wherever, A is equal to P 1 plus R over N raised to the NT power. Now, that is what I want you to replace this APR and Y. And as I told you before, there are some people that think students are idiots. And this book is it's written by one of those people. And they think, now there's a happy medium between being, in layman's terms, and acting like students are stupid, okay? There's a fine line between those two things. This book passes that fine line. I try to put things in layman's terms. I do not think that students are idiots. And that's why I do not like the way this book does things, because this right here is the way that the world writes their savings plans or formulas. They don't put a Y in there. They don't put an APR in there. And I don't think it's smart teaching you this, APR and Y, when the rest of the world does this, okay? So I want you to make sure you understand that we're going to take this out. We're going to put an R there, and we're going to take that out. We're going to put a T there. Does anybody have any questions on this? Okay? Now, this is when the payment is known. The question will read something like this. You want to retire and have a good nest egg when you retire at the end of 10 years. So you got 10 years to retirement. You want to put away $500 a month at 8%, compounded 4 times a year. Okay? The 8% is the R. The 500 is the payment. When you have a payment, that is when you use this formula. Okay? Let me give you an example. Here it is. Use the savings plan formula to calculate the balance after 6 months for an APR of 12%. And what kind of payments? That's a key. I want somebody monthly. So N is going to equal 12. All right. So write that down, because that's somewhat of a test question. It's pretty simple, but I want you to write it down, and I want you to plug it in your calculator. Or, I'm sorry, plug it in your formula. R is equal to 0.12. N is equal to 4. Your monthly payment of $100. And somebody tell me what T is. That means I want somebody to say something.
0.5.
0.5, good job. Miss Stewart, you're a winner. Now I'm going to go to my handy dandy calculator, and I'm going to go ahead and show y'all what they plug and chug right there. Now I'm going to pull up my handy dandy calculator, and we're going to actually do this in the calculator, because you should be able to do this in your calculator without writing down too much more than plugging and chugging. I'm going to give everybody a second to plug and chug. You should be able to write this down right here. This is all you need to write down. This one right here. And now I want you to try to punch it in your calculator. Now I can only see 2 people, and Miss Holder, she just couldn't hang. I hate to hear it, but you know, she couldn't hang. I can only see 2 people. So, and why am I looking at a dog?
I figured that I needed to look at the board and no one needed
That's
to look
all
at
right.
me.
I'm just aggravating you, Miss Holder. You can take it. You're tough. I have a feeling you're tough. All right. So, see what you can plug and chug and see what you get. Give y'all about 30 more seconds to plug those in. Now, I will tell you that the bank or the IRA might have a more tweaked or a more defined formula, but it's based off of this one. They may have a few more numbers in there that, you know, carry to the 5th or 10th decimal point, but this is the formula that they base everything off of. Is this one of those formulas that you need to write down and keep forever? Yes. And I would give y'all a word of advice. And I know your daddy and your father or your guardian or your grandmother or grandfather or uncle or aunt probably told you this, but they're family and they're stupid, right? Because I know I'm stupid to my son and my daughter. I'm stupid. I'm an idiot. But maybe y'all will listen to me since I'm not your father. The first day that you sign a contract make sure you start a 401k, a IRA, or a savings plan. Everybody with me? Make sure you do that. As soon as you sign a contract, and get rid of all your credit cards. First day that you start a career, do those two things. All right, here we go. 0.12 divided by 12. Add 1 and raise it. Okay, now I'm not going to punch in 12 times 1/2 because I think most of y'all know that half of 12 is 6. I'm going to raise that to the 6th power. And I'm going to subtract 1. And that is my numerator. And I'm going to divide that by parentheses 0.12 divided by 12. And that is all that conglomeration on the right. And then I'm going to multiply that by 100. So at the end of 6 months, you have raised basically $15. Now, what's the moral of this story? The smaller amount of money, the longer you need to leave it in. Okay, because the small amount of money is not going to raise that much money in 6 months. Now, if you put in $1 million, then yes, it would. You could live off the interest of $1 million. But in this case, you only put $100. You basically put $600 in for 6 months. That's not going to accumulate very much interest. Is this a test question? Yes, 100% it will be on your test. At least 2 or 3 questions with interest savings. Now, the big thing about 4C is you've got to distinguish with payment, without payment. You've got to distinguish that. And you have to read the what? The question. Now, here's some definitions I want you to write down. Now, why do I want you to write them down? Because these are definitions that you need to write down for the real world. Because I know damn well they didn't teach you this in K through 12 because knowledge is power and government likes to keep people stupid. An annuity is a series of equal regular payments. Technically, your car payment is an annuity, but your car payment is an expense. An annuity is what you put toward your retirement. It's something that you put away. You know another word for annuity? A nest egg. An ordinary annuity is the savings plans in which payments are made at the end of each month. An annual annuity due is a plan which payments are made at the beginning of each period, like an annual payment or a semi-annual payment. A future value of an annuity is the accumulated amount at some future date. That's what we're going to be doing next, or somewhat next. The present value is what the annuity is worth today. So write those 5 definitions down. And like I said, you are responsible for any definitions right here that I'm showing you and with stocks and bonds, which that is the second part. And all it is reading. You don't have to do any math. You just have to know the definitions. So make sure you write these down and at least read over them a couple of times so you can understand what they are. Okay. Give you another 30, 45 seconds. All right. You would like to retire 25 years from now and have a retirement fund from which you can draw an income of $50,000 per year forever. How can you do it? Assume a constant APR of 7%. This is the second type question. They're asking here for a monthly payment. Write that down. Write the question down. They're asking for a monthly payment. You would like to retire 25 years from now. So somebody tell me what T is. T is 25. Okay, 50,000 per year. That means that's probably going, wait a minute, no, that's not the principal because you're going to have to do something with that. And the R is 7% and N is 12. Now there's one step on this question that you have to do before you even get started. And this is not a formula. This is something you have to do. Can somebody tell me what's missing? We know that we're looking for a monthly payment. Can somebody tell me what's missing in this question besides the monthly payment? We know that. We know that's what you're trying to get. But what's missing? You would like to retire 25 years from now and have a retirement fund which you can draw an income of $50,000 per year forever. How can you do it? Assume R is equal to 0.07. Somebody tell me what's missing.
How long forever is?
Well, no, that's a good, I never thought about that. That's one of those, things you could put together and think about for a while. You know, what is forever? But no, that's not it. That's a good answer, but that's not it. Anybody else got a question? Anybody else got an idea? Well, you can't get blood from a turnip, can you? That's the old saying, you can't get something from nothing. So where are we getting the 50,000 per year from? That's the question. Where is it coming from? We know the number one rule of life is nothing is what? Free. So it's not just dropping off out of the air. It's got to come from somewhere. So where's it going to come from? We're going to use that 7% and that 50,000. Right there, write it down. When you've got a problem like this, you've got to find where you're going to get the money from. In fact, Washington, D.C. might want to take a lesson from this. Okay? Before you spend the money, you got to make sure where it's what? Coming from. So you need to raise $800,000 or $700,000 for you to actually get $50,000 a year forever. Because that $715,000 is going to be accruing interest while it's in the bank or whatever. And you're going to be taking payments off of it. So you got to raise $800,000 pretty much. Or, I'm sorry, $714,286. That's where the $50,000 forever is coming from. Okay? Nothing is free. You're not going to get $50,000 just because you want it. So that's where you take 50,000 and divide by the rate. So your principal, or your desired amount, divided by R. And that will give you your P. Now you plug that number into your formula for the payment. So go ahead and do that. A is $714,000, or whatever it came out to be. A is 714, blah, 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 blah. And do it on your calculator. Somebody tell me what kind of payment you think this is going to be. Anybody? It's going to be a BA payment. Well, if you'd learned this in high school, it would have prepared you a little bit more, wouldn't it, as far as a career, to know that in order to put back a good retirement, you got to have a BA number. You got to have $715,000. Kind of would help to know that before you graduated high school, wouldn't it? I think it would be. Because we are a product, number one, fourth or fifth rule, we are a product of our own decisions. And if our decisions are not based on good numbers, that's not a good decision. So let's crank it out. Can I do this on the calculator, Hubert, without writing a bunch of numbers? Yes. I'm going to show you a trick I learned in the war. Y'all ready? 0.07 divided by 12 equals. And I can tell you that's not plus. That's supposed to be times. I don't know why they got a plus right there. That's supposed to be times. So you need to make that note. Times $715,000. Somebody tell me what stove means. What's stove? That's where you get bread, that's stove. No, that's where you store. I'm going to store that, and somebody tell me what that is. That is our numerator. So I'm going to store that in alpha n for numerator. Now I'm going to do the bottom. Clear? 0.07 divided by 12 plus 1. 12 times 15. Well, let's see. 12 times 12 is 144. And the difference between, that'd be 144 plus 36. How about 180? What do y'all get? What's 12 times 15? Y'all settle down, please.
180.
Thank you. And minus 1. I need to go get more bread. Stove? Alpha? Now come on, what do you think I'm going to call this? D for denominator. Okay, now watch this. Here it is. Alpha n divided by alpha D. That's a big ass payment. So in order for you to retire at $50,000 a year for the rest of your life, what do you need to start putting back now? $2,000 a month. Now, what's the first thing you're going to say when I say you need to put back $2,000 a month? How in the hell am I going to put back $2,000 a month? Well, you need to make at least $3,000 a month to put back $2,000 a month. I need to get a high-paying career instead of underwater firefighting or gender studies. That's what you need to do. Now, let's think about it. Our whole life is accumulation of decision making, right? When you're 60 years old and slobbering all over yourself, you're going to think back and you're going to say, I should have made a better decision. That's why before you graduate high school, you need to know this kind of stuff. Because then you can make better decisions. Instead of going to 4 years of college and learning gender studies and underwater firefighting, you need to up that career a little bit. Up it to history or English or math and science. So you can get a job paying enough to make a $1,000 or a $2,000 payment. You can't make a career out of being a cashier. And yes, that's one of my poems for life. You can't. And I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but somebody needs to tell students that. You can't make a career by being a cashier. That is good for college and it's good for high school. But it's not something that you can say, well, I'm going to retire in, by the time I'm 60, so I need to start putting back $1,000 a month. You can't do that on a part-time job. You can't do it. And I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but it's the truth. And the real world doesn't care for your feelings. Okay? So, is this a test question? Wait a minute. Did I get the right answer? That's not supposed to be plus. Hold on a second. I didn't get the right answer. Where is my, A times, okay, I must have done something wrong. What did I do wrong? Oh, I know what. They did it wrong because they did plus. What did y'all get for the answer?
I got something different from both of y'all.
Okay, what did you get?
I don't even know anymore. I scribbled it out.
Oh, my Lord. I think it's supposed to be around $1,000, but sometimes it could be $2,000. Did anybody else get what I got? Okay, it's like asking for blood out of a turnip with y'all. Anyway, I know this answer's not right because that formula's not right. That's supposed to be a multiplication symbol. And if you don't believe me, there's the multiplication symbol right there. A times APR over N divided by this. So I don't know where they get this plus. Did somebody type in plus? Well, let's do that. Let's see what happens when you do plus, which is not correct. Okay, APR is going to be 0.07 divided by 12. That's just going to add a few cents to $715,000, which is ridiculous. Plus, that's going to add 1 cent. Now, I know that's not right. Plus $715,000. And I'm going to divide that by alpha D. Yeah, they've got this whole thing wrong. They're multiplying. I'm gonna do it one more time just to make sure my numbers are right. Okay, I'm gonna do exactly what they're doing. So 0.07 divided by 12 And I'm going to multiply that by 715,000. I need somebody that can talk, which is 2 of y'all, 3 of y'all. I need you to tell me if 715 is 4170.83. Okay, look here right quick. They got plus right here, but what do they have right here? So it's supposed to be multiplication. Did somebody get 4170.83? Anybody?
Yeah.
Thank you. It's like pulling hen's teeth to get y'all to talk. Stowe, alpha, n for numerator. Okay, we'll do the bottom now. They say 12 times 15 is 300. Where in the hell did that 300 come from? Somebody must have been drunk at the PowerPoint place when they put this thing together. Somebody multiply 12 times 15, please.
180.
They got 300. I don't know where they got that from. I'm going to do it again. 0.07 divided by 12 plus 1. And I'm going to raise it, and I'm going to put it in parentheses. 12 times 15 minus 1. Stowe, alpha, D. And now I'm going to take alpha, I'm going to clear it, alpha n. I can't even see n. Where's n? There it is. Divided by alpha D. I'm sorry, 2255 is the answer. I don't know what they got, but 2255 is the answer. So did y'all get that when y'all did y'all's math? I might as well just ask Miss Stewart. You didn't get that?
No, but I didn't get either one of those. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Probably something in my calculator.
Well, what did you get for the numerator?
I don't know. I already scribbled it out. And the previous one, I had something totally different than what you got.
Okay, well, I would ask the rest of the class, but they won't talk to me. So we're going to do it one more time because they won't talk to me. 0.07 divided by 12 and multiply that by 715,000. Do that in your calculator right quick, Miss Stewart. And tell me what you get. Mr. Adams, you can talk too. The rest of them, they just shut down, so I'm not going to ask them anything.
4170.83.
All right, hit Stowe, and then alpha n, which is log, and enter. Okay, now let's do the bottom together. 0.07 divided by 12 plus 1 raised, and did y'all check 12 times 15 is 180? And minus 1. Tell me what you get.
1.85.
Yep, all right, Stowe,
Yep,
alpha D for denominator, which is above the x to the -1 or x, whatever. Enter. Now clear alpha log, which is alpha n, divided by alpha x to the whatever, and equals. No, I hit the wrong button. Hold on. Alpha D, there we go, equals. Did you get it that time?
Yep, got it that time.
Did anybody else get a different number? And they're not going to say anything.
Oh, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. So that's pretty much it for 4C. Now, let me go ahead and show you something else they may ask. Total return. New minus old over old. Write that down. New minus old over old. Now, of course, something as sophisticated as this book, they're not going to say new minus old over old because that's too easy. So they put A minus P over P. New minus old over old multiplied by 100. Write that down. New minus old over old multiplied by 100. Annual return. The balance divided by the principal raised to the 1 over t minus 1. The balance divided by the principal. The balance you have after 10 years divided by what you put in raised to the 1 over t power minus 1. I'm not going to ask you these on a test, okay? I'm only going to ask you for a payment, or I'm going to ask you what will you have at the end of 30 years. That's what those first two questions is what I'm going to ask you. I'm not going to ask you these, but you need to write them down because they may be on a standardized test. And I know they're on your homework. Just plug and chug. Here's an example. You invest $300 in Clearwater Mutual. Over 4 years, your investment grows in 84. So that's 84 minus 3,000 over 3,000. It's gained 180%. That's how you do it. New minus old over old. New minus old over old. This is a good example of what I would ask you if I was writing a standardized test. That's a good indication. So I hope you wrote that down because.
Can I ask you something before we get too far ahead?
Yeah, go right ahead.
That last problem that we did about the 715,000, why did we make that 715 instead of doing 714,286?
They rounded up. When you're
on the test, if we rounded on the test,
I would round it up to 715 because it's like engineering. If you're engineering a building and the building, the trusses, the tensile strength of a truss is 200 pounds, okay? Are you going to settle for 200 or should you put 250? You're going to put 250. Okay, the same thing with savings accounts. You're not going to put in 714,286. Okay, no. You're going to say 715. You're always going to round up a little bit. Now, do you have to? No, you don't have to, but I will tell you this right now. This problem right here is screwed up anyway. They got the wrong formula. I don't know where they got that 300. So this problem is not, this example is not a very good example, but I do agree with 715 because you want to find out what payment will give you at least 714,000. And that's why they raised it to 715.
Okay.
Okay. So you could do either, but I think on a test, you look at their homework questions and you'll be able to ascertain what to do.
Okay.
Because you'll say, well, they must have rounded up. And then if you look at their explanation, they might have rounded to the nearest thousand. Okay?
Okay.
That's a good question. I never noticed that till just now. Okay? Here is the annual return. Write that down. What you got over what you put in raised to the 1 divided by t minus 1. Now that means you have a mutual gain of 29%. A mutual gain of 29%. Now again, that's plug and chug. I'm not going to ask you that on the test, but on your homework, that you got it in your notes for your homework. And here's the last couple of, and this is the reading at the end of 4C. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I want you to make sure you know these definitions. I want you to know stock. I want you to know bond. I want you to know cash, which is T-bills. Liquidity, risk, return, those kind of. So these are in your book at the end of 4 Charlie. At the end of 4C, they're in your book. I want you to read those sections. I want you to know when you look at a stock, what are the different things about a stock? A stock symbol, that's the abbreviation. Okay. I want you to know some of these things right here. So what I would do is I'd make an index card and I'd put that right there, I'd put that on an index card. It's in your book. Okay. These kind of things you get with reading. I'm not going to ask you too many things. I might ask you stock questions or these definition questions right here. Liquidity, cash, stock, bond. I'll ask you those kind of questions. Mutual fund, here's another one that's like a mutual fund is something that's a little bit more conservative. And I need to shut up, I only got 3 minutes. It's not as risky. A mutual fund is not as risky as a stock. And that's pretty much it. Okay? All right. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to see if anybody else showed up for the class. Let me look right quick and shut down the presentation and pull up the student attendance right quick and see. Arabia, nope. Brown showed up. Giordano, nope. Massengale, nope. And Ramey, nope. All right, y'all have a good day, and I'll see y'all Wednesday. Get those first 2 sections done by midnight tonight, and please do not write me an email asking me to extend it because I'm going to ignore it. Y'all have a good day. See y'all Wednesday.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.